We back with it in my Christmas PJs. Hair done and did. I'm really gonna try to go to bed before 2 a.m. tonight because I gotta wake up at like 8 tomorrow. But genuinely, I was about to skip out on this whole thing, and that's the things they be talking about. So why not? Let's read, shall we? So I'm on the chapter, The Basic Tools, and yeah, so I know a little bit about this book already. Basically, my friend Tyler explained it to me, but I know about the morning pages a bit, but not necessarily where they, like, the whole tool, the basic tools. Yeah, I don't know all of it. But this morning, I'd call it 3 pages. I have this book called Focus. Yes. And I did like 3 pages, but I did it where I'm chatting. No. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. And so I'm calling this 3 pages, even though it definitely is 6 actual pages because I wrote across. I just wanted to keep it going. So yeah, that was my morning pages today. But I don't know if I did it right, so we about to see if I did it right. Again, I don't know if I'm going to read the whole chapter because I do have to go to sleep soon, but let's see how far we get. All right. We'll turn her on. 2. Okay. The basic tools. There are 2 pivotal tools in creative recovery: the morning pages and the artist's date. A lasting creative awakening requires the consistent use of both. I like to introduce them both immediately and at sufficient length to answer most of your questions. This chapter explains these tools carefully and in depth. Please read it with special care and begin the immediate use of both tools. Now, hold on. I'm a little shiny. It's my face mask for the night, whatever. I'm big. This book said, don't just read it all the way through, work through the actual book. So that's what I'm going to do. And there may be times where I repeat a passage if it doesn't land on me immediately. Yeah, just telling the archive. All right. The morning pages. In order to retrieve your creativity, you need to find it. I ask you to do this by an apparently pointless process I call the morning pages. You will do the pages daily through all the weeks of the course, and I hope much longer. I've been doing them for a decade now. I have students who have worked with them nearly that long, and who would no more abandon them than breathing. Wow, okay. Jenny, a writer/producer, credits the morning pages with inspiration for her recent screenplays and clarity in planning her network specials. I'm superstitious about them by now, she says. When I was editing my last special, I would get up at 5 a.m. to get them done before I went into work. What are the morning pages? Put simply, the morning pages are 3 pages of longhand writing, strictly stream of consciousness. Oh God, another morning, I have nothing to say, I need to wash the curtains, did I get my laundry yesterday, blah, blah, blah. They might also more ingloriously be called brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. Some quotes. Words are a form of action, capable of influencing change. You need to claim the events of your life to make yourself yours. I agree. There is no wrong way to do the morning pages, period. And I was just saying I did it wrong. Look at that. There's no wrong way. Love it. These daily morning meanderings are not meant to be art or even writing. I stress that point to reassure the non-writers working with this book. Writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. Nothing is too petty, too silly, too stupid, or too weird to be included. The morning pages are not supposed to sound smart, although sometimes they might. Most times they won't, and nobody will ever know except you. Nobody is allowed to read your morning pages except you, and you shouldn't even read them yourself for the first 8 weeks or so. Just write 3 pages and stick them into an envelope. Or write 3 pages in a spiral notebook and don't leaf back through. Just write 3 pages and write 3 more pages the next day. September 30th, 1991. Over the weekend for Dominica's biology project, she and I went bug hunting on the Rio Grande and Pot Creek. We collected water, crawlies, and butterflies. I made a crimson homemade butterfly net that was quite functional, although dragonflies eluded us to our dismay. We did not catch the tarantula strolling down the dirt road near our house. We just enjoyed spotting it. Although occasionally colorful, the morning pages are often negative, frequently fragmented, often self-pitying, repetitive, stilted or babyish, angry or bland, even silly sounding. Good. October 2nd, 1991. I am up and have had a headache and have taken aspirin and felt a little better, although still shaky. I may have the flu after all. Damn. Flu's no joke. I'm getting to the bottom of a lot of unpacking and still no teapot from Laura, who I'm sorely missing. What a heartbreak. All that angry, whiny, petty stuff that you write down in the morning stands between you and your creativity. I'm going to read that again. All that angry, whiny, petty stuff that you write down in the morning stands between you and your creativity. Worrying about the job, the laundry, the funny knock in the car, the weird look in your lover's eye. This stuff eddies through our subconscious and muddies our days. Get it on the page. Quotes, a mind too active is no mind at all. The events in our lives happen in a sequence in time, but in their significance to ourselves, they find their own order, the continuous thread of revelation. You just popped up. Yeah, this is The Artist's Way, reading it out loud, digital footprint, all the good stuff. All right. The morning pages are the primary tool of creative recovery. As blocked artists, we tend to criticize ourselves mercilessly, even if we look like functioning artists to the world. We feel we never do enough and what we do isn't right. We are victims of our own internalized perfectionist, a nasty internal and eternal critic, the censor, who resides in our left brain and keeps up a constant stream of subversive remarks that are often disguised as the truth. The censor says wonderful things like, "You call that writing? What a joke. You can't even punctuate. If you haven't done it by now, you never will. You can't even spell. What makes you think you can be creative?" And on and on. That is so beast. Like, that is like, wow, really like negative words that we place on ourselves. And something I always ask my friends when they say something or I hear them saying something, I'm like, oh, whose voice is that? Whose voice is telling you that? Because it might not be yours, but you may have heard it and you've internalized it as your own, so you take it as your own, when it really isn't. It could have just been the voice of someone you really, really care about. So think about whatever negative thoughts you have and really sit there like, hey, whose voice? Because that might not be mine. And if it is, go deeper. That's what I do. Make this a rule. Always remember that your censor's negative opinions are not the truth. So funny, in acting school, we call our censor, I guess that's what writers call theirs. We call ours the saboteur. So it's the person that self-sabotages all the great things that we want to do, or like we're doing something physical or active, like a plank, right? So the voice that comes alive when you're at 40 seconds and you're plank and they're just like, you can't do this. You can't stay up for any longer. Just drop, just drop, just drop. That's like a lack of belief in yourself, when the voice could be, hey, wait, I can. Wait, maybe I could go beyond my limit. Let's see. Oh, I'm shaking, but that's okay, you know? The saboteur. So I guess that's the same. I'm relating the saboteur and the censor as one. And their negative opinions are not the truth. This takes practice. By spilling out of bed and straight onto the page every morning, you learn to evade the censor, because there is no wrong way to write the morning pages. The censor's opinion doesn't count. Let your censor rattle on, and it will. Just keep your hand moving across the page. Write down the censor's thoughts if you want to. Note how it loves to aim for your creative jugular. Damn. Make no mistake, the censor is out to get you. It's a cunning foe. Every time you get smarter, so does it. So you wrote one good play, the censor tells you that's all there is. So you drew your first sketch, the censor says it's not Picasso. Damn! You want to fight the censor. Jeez, who are you talking to? Okay. Think of your censor as a cartoon serpent slithering around your creative Eden. hissing vile things to keep you off guard. If a serpent doesn't appeal to you, you might want to find a good cartoon image of your censor, maybe the shark from Jaws, and put an X through it. Post it where you tend to write or on the inside cover of your notebook. Just making the censor into the nasty, clever little character that it is begins to pry loose some of its power over you and your creativity. Okay, what does my censor look like? Can't lie, the first image that came to mind, I guess when they said cartoon, was Vector from Despicable Me. But like, I don't know, he's a little too funny to me, but also he's like Sherm and a nerd, and imagine I let him control my creativity. Damn, Vector with his orange jumpsuit. Get out of here. I'll dead punch you. Okay. Into the nasty, clever little character. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna work that. I'm gonna work on that one, but I think it's Vector. I think it just makes the most sense for me to call him Vector, since that's what came to my mind. More than one student has tacked up an unflattering picture of the parent responsible for the censor's installation in his or her psyche and called that his or her censor. Damn. The point is to stop taking the censor as the voice of reason and learn to hear it for the blocking device that it is. Morning pages will help you to do this. I'm so blessed that my censor is neither one of my parents. If anything, they tell me to go harder, do more, express myself. So, wow. So is there like an actual human being that I felt? I've encountered a couple of, unfortunately, like grown black women that have really made me feel less than and like I'm not capable. But like, I'm trying to picture an amalgamation of what they would look like, and it's not Vector. So, something about a dragon, but I don't know, dragons are cool. Something about, I don't know, what scares me or what's like just a nasty little creature. You know what? I'll find it and watch me find it in the morning pages. Watch. I don't even got to overthink it too much. Okay. Morning pages are non-negotiable. Never skip or skimp on morning pages. Your mood doesn't matter. The rotten thing your censor says doesn't matter. We have this idea that we need to be in the mood to write. We don't. Morning pages will teach you that your mood doesn't really matter. Some of the best creative work gets done on the days when you feel that everything you're doing is just plain junk. The morning pages will teach you to stop judging and just let yourself write. So what if you're tired, crabby, distracted, stressed? Your artist is a child and it needs to be fed. Morning pages feed your artist child. So write your morning pages. Hi, Queen. 3 pages of whatever crosses your mind. That's all there is to it. If you can't think of anything to write, then write. I can't think of anything. Oh, hold on. If you can't think of anything to write, then write, I can't think of anything to write. Do this until you have filled 3 pages. Do anything until you have filled 3 pages. When people ask, why do we write morning pages? I joke, to get to the other side. Nah, that's funny. That's good. That's good. Okay. They think I am kidding, but I'm not. Morning pages do get us to the other side of our fear, of our negativity, of our moods. Above all, they get us beyond our censor. Beyond the reach of the censor's babble, we find our own quiet center, the place where we hear the still, small voice that is at once our creator's. Beyond the reach of the censor's babble, we find our own quiet center, the place where we hear the still, small voice that is at once our creator's and our own. Okay. Hi. Yeah, so reading The Artist's Way out loud. So I hope whoever's watching gathers from this. Yeah. I'm talking about the basic tools and the morning pages. And morning pages, from my assessment, is basically 3 different pages. Not different pages, but 3 pages of literally writing whatever you want. And it makes me think back to being in English class in middle school, and they're like, do your free write. I was free writing. And they were like, okay, you have 10 seconds to stop. Wait, I don't want to stop. Flow state. We been knew about flow state, and I love that. Morning pages is flow state. And so I kind of showed my the pages I wrote this morning, because I just knew the concept that it was 3 pages, but I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. But there's no right or wrong. I did it exactly how I did it, and I don't remember everything that I wrote, but I believe it was just about gratitude. I was definitely expressing gratitude and just thanks for all the blessings and all the things that I know I want to do, accomplish, and succeed. So, yeah. Yes! Oh my God. Wow. You're good. You're good. Yes, those things exactly. Wow. All right. Where was I? Okay. A word is in order here. Well, a word is in order here about logic brain and artist brain. Logic brain is our brain of choice in the Western Hemisphere. It is the categorical brain. It thinks in a neat, linear fashion. As a rule, logic brain perceives the world according to known categories. A horse is a certain combination of animal parts that make up a horse. A fall forest is viewed as a series of colors that add up to fall forest. It looks at a fall forest and notes red, orange, yellow, green, gold. That's our brain. Our brain looks at those things. Okay, a horse is a certain combination of animal parts that make up a horse. That makes it sound like a car. That's so interesting. Okay. Logic brain was and is our survival brain. Ugh. Yo, what's that? Survival mode? Yo. Oh my God. Survival mode really be taking me. But when you learn to relax your nervous system and know that just living in the present moment, you will be okay. And that the present moment will instantly become a memory and history. And so you just got to keep living in that present moment. And that stressing and like, oh, how will I survive? How will I survive? Does not help you survive. It just panics you about surviving. Okay. Logic brain was and is our survival brain. It works on known principles. Anything unknown is perceived as wrong and possibly dangerous. Logic brain likes things to be neat little soldiers marching in a straight line. Logic brain is the brain we usually listen to, especially when we are telling ourselves to be sensible. Logic brain is our censor, our second and third and fourth thoughts. Faced with an original sentence, phrase, paint squiggle. Faced with an original sentence, phrase, paint squiggle, it says, what the hell is that? That's not right. A quote, poetry often enters through the window of irrelevance. Irrelevance. The window of irrelevance. The window of irrelevance. Is irrelevance the house? And the poetry comes through the window? I gotta look at that one. Okay. Artist brain is our inventor, our child, our very own personal absent-minded professor. Artist brain says, hey, that is so neat. It puts odd things together. Boat equals waves. Whoa. Boat equals wave and walker. What does that mean? All right. It's like calling a speeding GTO a wild animal. The black howling wolf pulled into the drive-in. Oh, it's just exactly. What does that mean? That's the point. It's not really supposed to mean nothing. The artist can create whatever. Okay. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. All right. Artist brain is our creative, holistic brain. It thinks in patterns and shadings. It sees a fall forest and thinks, wow, leaf bouquet, pretty, gold gilt, shimmery, earth skins, king's carpet. Artist brain is associative and free-willing. It makes new connections, yoking together images to invoke meaning, like the Norse myths calling a boat wave horse. In Star Wars, the name Skywalker is a lovely artist brain flash. Why all this logic brain / artist brain talk? Because the morning pages teach logic brain to stand aside and let artist brain play. Cool. The censor is part of our leftover survival brain. It was the part in charge of deciding whether it was safe for us to leave the forest and go out into the meadow. Our sensor scans our creative meadow for any dangerous beasties. Any original thought can look pretty dangerous to our sensor. The only sentences, paintings, sculptures, photographs it likes are ones that it has seen many times before. safe sentences, safe paintings, not not exploratory blurts, squiggles, or jottings. Listen to your censor, and it will tell you that everything original is wrong, dangerous, and rotten. So again, this like reminds me of how as humans we'll stay in something familiar just because it's familiar, not because it's good for us or good for our being. It's just a form of us remaining stagnant, or like, I know what this is, so I'm just going to stay with it, rather than I'm scared of the unknown, but I'm going to step into it anyway. Wow. Who wouldn't be blocked if every time you tiptoed into the open, somebody, your censor, made fun of you? Who wouldn't be blocked if every time you tiptoed into the open, somebody, your censor, made fun of you? Yeah, nah. The morning pages will teach you to stop listening to that ridicule. They will allow you to detach from your negative censor. It may be useful for you to think of the morning pages as meditation. It may not be the practice of meditation you are accustomed to. You may, in fact, not be accustomed to meditating at all. The pages may not seem spiritual or even meditative. Meditative, yes. More like negative and materialistic, actually. But they are a valid form of meditation that gives us insight and helps us affect change in our lives. Quote, inspiration may be a form of superconsciousness, or perhaps of subconsciousness. I wouldn't know, but I am sure it is the antithesis of self-consciousness. Aaron Copland. That's good. One more time. Inspiration may be a form of superconsciousness, or perhaps of subconsciousness. I wouldn't know, but I am sure it is the antithesis of self-consciousness. Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look of what we stand to gain by meditating. There are many ways of thinking about meditation. Scientists speak of it in terms of brain hemispheres and shunting techniques. We move from logic brain to artist brain, and from fast to slow, shallow to deep. Management consultants in pursuit of corporate physical health have learned to think of meditation primarily as a stress management technique. Spiritual seekers choose to view the process as a gateway to God. Artists and creativity mavens approve of it as a conduit for higher creative insights. All of these notions are true, as far as they go. They do not go far enough. Yes, we will alter our brain hemisphere, lower our stress, and discover an inner contact with the creative source, and have many creative insights. Yes, for any one of these reasons, the pursuit is a worthy one, even taken in combination. However, they are still intellectual constructs for what is primarily an experience of wholeness, rightness, and power. They are still intellectual constructs for what is primarily an experience of wholeness, rightness, and power. So the intention behind it, what you do it for, those are constructs, or what the meditating will try to get you to do, or try to resolve. Thinking about what it can resolve is still something built around it when it's just about wholeness, rightness, and power. Okay. Tea time. No, don't lose my page. No. Huh. Intellectual constructs. So if you just go into it and allow whatever is meant to come, then you're not dealing with those constructs. Okay. We meditate to discover our own identity, our right place in the scheme of the universe. Through meditation, we acquire and eventually acknowledge our connection to an inner power source that has the ability to transform our outer world. In other words, meditation gives us not only the light of insight, but also the power for expansive change. Insight in and of itself is an intellectual comfort. Power in and of itself is a blind force that can destroy as easily as build. It is only when we consciously learn to link power and light that we begin to feel our rightful identities as creative beings. The morning pages allow us to forge this link. They provide us with a spiritual ham radio set to contact the creator within. For this reason, the morning pages are a spiritual practice. It is impossible to write morning pages for any extended period of time without coming into contact with an unexpected inner power. Although I used them for many years before I realized this, the pages are a pathway to a strong and clear sense of self. And honestly, that is mainly what I'm on the road to. That is really what I want to achieve. A strong and clear sense of self. Yeah. They are a trail that we follow into our own interior, where we meet both our own creativity and our creator. Morning pages map our own interior. Without them, our dreams may remain terra incognita. I know mine did. Using them, the light of insight is coupled with the power for expansive change. It is very difficult to complain about a situation morning after morning, month after month, without being moved to constructive action. Yes. The pages lead us out of despair and into undreamed of solutions. It always comes back to the same necessity. Go deep enough, and there is a bedrock of truth, however hard. May Sarton. It always comes back to the same necessity. It makes me think about the things that we avoid and then how they always just show up anyway, about what we need and what's required. The first time I did morning pages, I was living in Tejas, New Mexico. I had gone there to sort myself out into what I didn't know. For the third time in a row, I'd had a film scuttled due to studio politics. Such disasters are routine to screenwriters, but to me, they felt like miscarriages. Cumulatively, they were disastrous. I wanted to give the movies up. Movies had broken my heart. I didn't want any more brain children to meet untimely deaths. I'd gone to New Mexico to mend my heart and see what else, if anything, I might want to do. Living in a small adobe house that looked north to Tejas Mountain, I began a practice of writing morning pages. Nobody told me to do them. I had never heard of anybody doing them. I just got the insistent inner sense that I should do them, and so I did. I sat at a wooden table looking north to Tejas Mountains, and I wrote. The morning pages were my pastime, something to do instead of staring at the mountain all the time. The mountain, a humpbacked marvel, different in every weather, raised more questions than I did. Wrapped in clouds one day, dark and wet the next, that mountain dominated my view and my morning pages as well. What did it, or anything, mean? I asked page after page, morning after morning. No answer. And then, one wet morning, a character named Johnny came strolling into my pages. Without planning to, I was writing a novel. The morning pages had shown me a way. Anyone who faithfully writes morning pages will be led to a connection with a source of wisdom within. When I am stuck with a painful situation or problem that I don't think I know how to handle, I will go to the pages and ask for guidance. To do this, I write LJ as a shorthand for me, Little Julie, and then I ask my question. Yo, word 2 though? Wow. I think about all the movies that we see, and just a lot of the messages tend to be like, your little self knew exactly how to solve this issue, problem, how to be happy, what they need, want, what's a necessity, what they deserve, how they choose to survive. Just, they know all the reasons why you do what you do. So to resort back to them or even use them as a guidance point, like, that's fire. Sometimes I'll be like, yo, Mies, what are we wearing today? What do you want to wear today? Like, that's real. That's so real. Okay. LJ. Cool. Quotes. Like an ability or a muscle, hearing your inner wisdom is strengthened by doing it. Robbie Gass. It is in the knowledge of the genuine conditions of our lives that we must draw our strength to live and our reasons for living. Simone de Beauvoir. All right, so this looks like a question answer. LJ. What should I tell them about this inner wisdom? Then I listen for the reply and write that down too. Answer. You should tell them everyone has a direct dial to God. No one needs to go through an operator. Tell them to try this technique with a problem of their own. They will. Sometimes, as above, the answer may seem flippant or too simple. I've come to believe that seem is the operative word. Very often when I act on the advice I have been given, it is exactly right, far more right than something more complicated would have been. And so, for the record, I want to say, pages are my way of meditating. I do them because they work. A final assurance. The morning pages will work for painters, for sculptors, for poets, for actors, for lawyers, for housewives, for anyone who wants to try anything creative. Don't think they are a tool for writers only. Hooey. These pages are not intended for writers only. Lawyers who use them swear they make them more effective in court. Dancers claim their balance improves, and not just emotionally. If anything, writers who have a regrettable desire to write morning pages instead of just do them may have the hardest time seeing their impact. What they're likely to see is that their other writing seems to suddenly be far more free and expansive and somehow easy to do. In short, no matter what your reservation or your occupation, morning pages will function for you. Timothy, a button-down, button-lipped curmudgeon millionaire, began writing morning pages with a skeptic's scorn. He didn't want to do them without some proof that they would work. The damn pages had no label, no Dunn and Bradstreet rating. They just sounded silly, and Timothy hated silly. Timothy, in street parlance, a serious player. His poker face was so straight it looked more like a fireplace poker than a mere card-sharp's defense. Practiced for years in the corporate in the corporate boardroom, Timothy's invincible facade was as dark, shiny, and expensive as mahogany. No emotion scratched the surface of this man's calm. He was a one-man monument to the masculine mystique. Okay, there was something I wanted to bring up. Yeah, I think about a lot of the things I make the choice to not say and the things that just simply cross my mind. And I'm like, damn. And then that's when I think there's just people do that all the time. So to have the morning pages, no one can read them. You can't even read them after a few weeks. It's a great way to track your progress, but also it's like a way for you to get out the things that we just tend to not say. So it's some sort of release and freedom that it allows for. Yeah, I like that. Oh, all right. Timothy agreed to the pages, but only because he had paid good money to be told to do them. Within 3 weeks, straight-laced pinstripe Timothy became a morning pages advocate. The results of his work with them convinced him. He started, heaven forbid, to have a little creative fun. I bought guitar strings for this old guitar I had lying around, he reported one week, and then I rewired my stereo. I bought some wonderful Italian recordings. Although he hesitated to acknowledge it, even to himself, Timothy's writer's block was melting. Up at dawn, Gregorian chant on the stereo, he was writing freely. Quotes, painting is just another way of keeping a diary. Honestly, I want to paint. And I want to paint not because, I want to be selling my artwork, but just simply, I want to paint. I have some things I painted around my room, actually. Oh yeah, here's just the main one, but yeah. I did this. I can't remember when I did it. I can't tell you, but I think I just love the colors and had to use them. So, yeah, wow. What's going on with my eye? Tea time. Not everyone undertakes the morning pages with such obvious antagonism. Phyllis, a leggy racehorse socialite who for years had hidden her brains behind her beauty and her life behind her man's, tried the morning pages with a great deal of surface cheer and an inner conviction they would never work for her. Interesting. It had been 10 years since she allowed herself to write anything other than letters and bread and butter lists. About a month into morning pages, seemingly out of nowhere, Phyllis got her first poem. In the 3 years she has used pages since, she has written poems, speeches, radio shows, and a non-fiction book. Anton, grumpy but graceful in his use of the pages, accomplished unblocking as an actor. Laura, talented but blocked as a writer, painter, and musician, found that the morning pages moved her to her piano, typewriter, and paint supplies. While you may undertake this course with an agenda as to what you want unblocked, the tools may free creative areas you have long ignored or even been blind to. Oh, wow, that's a name. Ingeborg? Miss you too. We read in the artist way. Get this book. It's really good. Get it. Yeah, Ingeborg, using the pages to unblock her creative writer, moved from being one of Germany's top music critics to composing for the first time in 20 years. Like, that's so beautiful. Just this impact. I'm so glad they wrote this. Like, the impact that it really will just bring people out of your shell, and all you're really doing is writing 3 pages a day. I don't even necessarily know what I want to unblock. Again, I just heard about this book, heard about the morning pages. I've never been journaling, but like, yeah, I don't really have a thing that I'm seeking to unblock, I feel. That might be a lie. Maybe I'm choosing to unblock. Yeah, I feel like I have an issue with follow through. And, you know, going through with what it is that I'm hoping for and wanting to accomplish. Like, I'll have a great idea, and then I'll hit a roadblock, and I'll be like, okay, well, not now. You know? Damn. All right. She was stunned and made several ecstatic transatlantic calls to share her good news. That's lit. Often the students most resistant to morning pages come to love them the best. In fact, hating the morning pages is a very good sign. Loving them is a good sign too, if you keep writing even when you suddenly don't. A neutral attitude is the third position, but it's really just a defensive strategy that may mask boredom. All right. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Oh, I have a contract to sign. I forgot. Hold on. All right. What? Oh, okay. Boredom is just what's the use in disguise. And what's the use is fear. And fear means you are secretly in despair. So put your fears on the page. Put anything on the page. Put 3 pages of it on the page. Quotes, "The most potent muse of all is our own inner child." Stephen Nachmanovich. At the height of laughter, the universe is flung into a kaleidoscope of new possibilities. Jean Houston. All right, so that was the section on the morning pages. Just write. Just do 3. Lit. Okay, I already started. Cool. The artist's date. The other basic tool of the artist's way may strike you as a non-tool, a diversion. You may see clearly how morning pages could work, yet find yourself highly dubious about something called an artist date. I assure you, artist dates work too. Think of this combination of tools in terms of a radio receiver and transmitter. It is a two-step, two-directional process, out and then in. Doing your morning pages, you are sending, notifying yourself and the universe of your dreams, dissatisfactions, hopes. Doing your artist date, you are receiving, opening yourself to insight, inspiration, guidance. But what exactly is an artist date? An artist date is a block of time, perhaps 2 hours weekly, especially set aside and committed to nurturing your creative consciousness, your inner artist. In its most primary form, the artist date is an excursion, a play date that you pre-plan and defend against all interlopers. You do not take anyone on this artist date but you and your inner artist, aka your creative child. That means no lovers, friends, spouses, children, no taggers on of any stripe. If you think this sounds stupid or that you will never be able to afford the time, identify that reaction as resistance. Damn. You cannot afford not to find time for artist dates. Do you spend quality time with each other? Troubled couples often? Do you spend quality time with each other? Troubled couples are often asked this by their therapist. Parents of disturbed children are asked the same thing. Well, what do you mean quality time? Is the usual Weasley response. We spend a lot of time together. Yes, but is it quality time? Do you ever have any fun together? The therapist may press. Fun? Who ever heard of having fun in a rotten relationship like this one? Wow. Do you go on dates just to talk, just to listen to each other? Dates? But we're married, too busy, too broke, too scared, the therapist may interrupt. Hey, don't sugarcoat it. It is frightening to spend quality time with a child or lover, and our artists can be seen as both to us. A weekly artist date is remarkably threatening and remarkably productive. A date with my artist? Yes. Your artist needs to be taken out, pampered, and listened to. There are as many ways to evade this commitment as there are days of your life. I'm too broke is the favored one, although no one said the date need involve elaborate expenses. Quote, the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. C.G. Jung. Your artist is a child. Time with the parent matters more than money spent. A visit to a great junk store, a solo trip to the beach, an old movie seen alone together, a visit to an aquarium or an art gallery, these cost time, not money. Remember, it is a time commitment that is sacred. In looking for a parallel, think of the child of divorce who gets to see a beloved parent only on weekends. During most of the week, your artist is in the custody of a stern, work-a-day adult. What that child wants is attention, not expensive outings. What that child does not want is to share the precious parent with someone like the new significant other. Spending time in solitude with your artist child is essential to self-nurturing. A long country walk, a solitary expedition to the beach for a sunrise or sunset, a sortie out to a strange church to hear gospel music, to an ethnic neighborhood to taste foreign sights and sounds. Your artist might enjoy any of these, or your artist might like bowling. Commit yourself to a weekly artist date and then watch your killjoy side try to wriggle out of it. Watch how the sacred time gets easily encroached upon. Watch how the sacred time suddenly includes a third party. Learn to guard against these invasions. Above all, learn to listen to what your artist child has to say on and about these joint expeditions. For example, oh, I hate this serious stuff. Your artist may exclaim if you persist in taking it only to grown-up places that are culturally edifying and good for it. Listen to that. It is telling you your art needs more playful inflow. A little fun can go a long way toward making your work feel more like play. We forget that the imagination at play is at the heart of all good work, and increasing our capacity for good creative work is what this book is about. Wow. Okay. You got 4 pages left. Let's do it. You are likely to find yourself avoiding your artist's dates. Recognize the resistance as a fear of intimacy, self-intimacy. Often in troubled relationships, we settle into an avoidance pattern with our significant others. We don't want to hear what they are thinking because it just might hurt. Okay. Yeah. So we avoid them, knowing that once they get the chance, our significant others will probably blurt out something we do not want to hear. It is possible they will want an answer we do not have and can't give them. It is equally possible we might do the same to them, and that then the two of us will stare at each other in astonishment, saying, "But I never knew you felt like this." Quotes. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. Pablo Picasso. During these periods of relaxation, after concentrated intellectual activity, the intuitive mind seems to take over and can produce the sudden clarifying insights which give so much joy and delight. Fritjof Capra, physicist. It is probable that these self-disclosures, frightening though they are, will lead to the building of a real relationship, one in which the participants are free to be who they are and become what they wish. This possibility is what makes the risk of self-disclosure and true intimacy profitable. In order to have a real relationship with our creativity, we must take the time to care and to cultivate it. Our creativity will use this time to confront us, to confide in us, to bond with us, and to plan. The morning pages acquaint us with what we think and what we think we need. We identify problem areas and concerns. We complain, enumerate, identify, isolate, fret. This is step 1, analogous to prayer. In the course of the release engendered by our artist state, step 2, and we begin to hear solutions. Perhaps equally important, we begin to fund the creative reserves we will draw on in fulfilling our artistry. Filling the well, stocking the pond. Art is an image using system. In order to create, we draw from our inner well. This inner well, an artistic reservoir, is ideally like a well-stocked trout pond. We've got big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish, an abundance of artistic fish to fry. As artists, we must realize that we have to maintain this artistic ecosystem. If we don't give some attention to upkeep, our well is apt to become depleted, stagnant, or blocked. Any extended period or piece of work draws heavily on our artistic well. Overtapping the well, like overfishing the pond, leaves us with diminished resources. We fish in vain for the images we require. Our work dries up and we wonder why, just when it was going so well. The truth is that work can dry up because it is going so well. And as artists, we must learn to be self-nourishing. We must become alert enough to consciously replenish our creative resources as we draw on them, to restock the trout pond, so to speak. I call this process filling the well. Filling the well involves the active pursuit of images to refresh our artistic reservoirs. Art is born in attention. Its midwife is detail. Art may seem to spring from pain, but perhaps that is because pain serves to focus our attention onto details. For instance, the excruciatingly beautiful curve of a lost lover's neck. Art may seem to involve broad strokes, grand schemes, great plans. But it is the attention to detail that stays with us. The singular image is what haunts us and becomes art. Even in the midst of pain, the singular image brings delight. The artist who tells you different is lying. Quote, younger self, who can be as bulky and stubborn as the most cantankerous 3-year-old, is not impressed by words. Like a native of Missouri, it wants to be shown. To arouse its interest, we must seduce it with pretty pictures and pleasurable sensations, take it out dining and dancing, as it were. Only in this way can deep self be reached. Starhawk, theologian. In order to function in the language of art, we must learn to live in it comfortably. The language of art is image, symbol. It is a wordless language, even when our very art is to chase it with words. The artist's language is a sensual one, a language of felt experience. When we work at our art, we dip into the well of our experience and scoop out images. Because we do this, we need to learn how to put images back. How do we fit the well? We feed it images. Art is an artist's brain pursuit. The artist's brain is our image brain, home and haven to our best creative impulses. The artist's brain cannot be reached or triggered effectively by words alone. The artist's brain is the sensory brain, sight and sound, smell and taste and touch. These are the elements of magic, and magic is the elemental stuff of art. In filling the well, think magic, think delight, think fun. Do not think duty. Do not do what you should do. Spiritual sit-ups like reading a dull but recommended critical text. Do what intrigues you. Explore